Presley, If I Can Dream. Jeffrey, where did you come up with that song?
That's just like a song that me and my dad and my stepfather have always listened to in the radio. And me and him went to the same school together, so every day we would have the 80s channel or the Elvis channel playing, and that song always popped up, and it's always been like one of my favorites. So,
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked everybody to bring in a song is because music for me changed my life, and I'd always been passionate about music. And when I was a kid, I had some. I can't go through it all right now, but I had a pretty bad background. And it was music that literally pulled me out of it. Now, a lot of people say that, but I ate, dreamt, slept, did everything with music until I finally did what I'd always wanted to, even though everybody told me I couldn't. And I just joined a band and I toured and did everything I wanted to do, and I did that for 20 some years. And it helped me build up the confidence in myself. It helped me in so many ways. But all of us, just about all of us, can relate to a song where when we hear it, it moves our energy into nostalgia of the moment that you'd heard it before, right? So I hear a song when I was like just young and just, oh man, this song made me feel summer, all those kind of things. So I tell people, stack your playlist, make CDs, so that when you become depressed, discouraged, right, you throw this on and it's the first step you do. On my phone, well, she has my phone, but on my phone I have one that's just called motivation. And anytime I'm depressed, it all boils down to I'm not motivated. So I need to get up. And if you're feeling weak, this is why I start this show every time out with Eye of the Tiger, because I think universally we can all say when you hear it, you're boxing, you're thinking of Rocky, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when you load your head up with some music that moves you and cranks you up, even when you're depressed, it'll actually change your physical state. Your mental state will change. So that's why I asked every time. So, okay, so before we get back into the questions I had already written, Lynette, no one has as much passion in advocacy or tenacity to fight through multiple schools, lawyers, judges, without having an experience themselves. Did you go through some stuff when you were young?
I totally did. I was bullied when I was younger, around his age, and I really wish I had support. I really wish I had somebody that I felt like I could go to. I felt alone. I had a lot of mental health issues from that. A lot of trust issues, which I still struggle with. Mm-hmm. So having that support and connection, and making sure that if something ever happened to me, that Jeffrey has those people in his life. So that's still something that I'm working towards, finding those people that we could trust. But I totally did go through those things, and I could understand where Jeffrey was, and I parented him the way I wanted to be parented.
That's, my daughter's also in the studio, Indigo, and she's everything I ever wanted in a child. Yep. My son as well, because my life was so not that.
Yep.
And I wanted to be raised a certain way. I always knew they were doing it wrong. I had to come up with something though, and maybe this will help you as well. When I was younger and I was going through all that, of course my parents were the ones that it's your fault, I hate you guys, you make me feel stupid and I'm not, you know what I mean? I had all these things. So the way I came to deal with it is this. How old were your parents?
At what point?
When they had you.
Oh, so I think 36.
They were later?
Yeah, they were. So I was the last of three girls.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So they were much older, so my parents are in their 80s right now.
Okay, all right. And so for me, it was a matter of I had to look at them and go, okay, what was the circumstance? Right. My father was a Vietnam veteran with PTSD who developed alcoholism to deal with it. My mother was a bartender, right? So you kind of see what's happening already. And then I thought to myself, what was I doing at 20 years old. And I can't even say what I was doing at 20 years old on the radio.
Right.
So how could I expect them to be
And
what?
I definitely agree with that. My parents did have definitely harder than I did.
Mhm.
And they probably were doing what they thought was better.
Exactly.
What,
Exactly.
So I see what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
agree. So.
And you know, one of the things that we do when we, with the Empower Hour, is about self-education. Now, you've been doing that, and that is how you could be such a great advocate for Jeffrey. Conversely, Mom, when you have that much fight and vigor inside of you, like I said, it's usually because of a trauma that you wanted to write.
Correct.
One of the things that helped me, another thing that helped me, is when the internet came out, and more so, of course, lately. But about 10 years ago, I really wanted to understand people because I was doing motivational speaking, and I really wanted to understand more about why people give up. What is it, you know? And as long as I've been doing it, I still realize that there's so many different personalities out there. But what made me able to do it was Googling Psychology 101, right? I threw that on YouTube. And if you're listening and you want some fun, go ahead and Google that or put it on YouTube and check out Psychology 101, and you will realize that Cambridge University professors are giving out the information that they give to students who are paying $250,000 a year. And it's free. Do I get a degree with it? No. But do I understand people better? Absolutely. Do I get to heal some of the inner trauma that I got because now I can put myself in a more empathetic, way? I can understand why some of those things happen. And Jeffrey, you just did it. You just said it just a few minutes ago. It was beautiful. When I asked you why you thought, I was really thinking you were going to say because they saw I had a disability or whatever, but you went right to what it really was. The understanding that those kids probably have a really tough life, and they struggle with security and feelings, insecure all the time. And one of the ways that a younger kid will, fight that is to pick on someone else to make themselves feel better. It's the hierarchy of nature, really.
Yeah.
So we fight with our moral understanding of how things are supposed to go. And then there's that pack mentality of teens, together, in that if they sense weakness. So because of your strengths, I think you really got something here, man. If you ever decided to go and speak, I would love to have you go speak with me. And I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in, but I do a lot of schools. And if this DASA thing is a requirement, my center is going to make sure that requirement's going to happen in Otsego, Delaware, and Schoharie counties. With that, we will also offer the training. So I assume I'll have to get a DASA training, but I'll find a trainer, and then I would love to have you come and speak. And then I want them to see your art. Because the kid you guys been picking on is one of the most brilliant minds sitting in front of you that can create something on a friggin' note program, and it is bananas
His
good.
finger.
Oh, speaking of bananas, you sent me a picture of a banana smiling with teeth. What was that about?
Yeah, so, during school there would be rough days, and they would find out that I was getting picked on or bullied or had something happen to me during the day in class, or so we came up with this thing where we saw a funny banana gif or photo that had funny smiling teeth on them, and we created this thing where I tried to imagine those bullies and other people who were messing with me were that banana. So the next day, because I didn't want to go back into school the next day after this happened, so we created this funny thing. So the next day I would go to school, I would just keep thinking of that funny banana picture, and it helped. Those type of things helped me a lot, the next day and the other next day when stuff like this would happen.
It would usually take a couple of days before we were ready for he was ready to go back to school, and we needed to use all of our tools in order to get you ready for that. And So we've named that banana all of his bullies over the years.
I was
and-
going to say, at the end of your email, it did say that this banana has had many names. So I'm also going to post, aside from your picture, I'm also going to post that banana GIF on there. So anybody listening out there, I'm sure you might want to name this banana. But it really helped because visually you could circumvent what was happening and imagine the goofs that they were in that picture, and that helped.
I've also used like other things to help me through tough times like that, like mostly comedy. So like we would watch, Mr. Bean together and
Saturday Night Live. Yep.
And just all of this stuff I love watching, like that helped me a lot through hard times.
Yeah.
So.
And this is your husband now?
Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been together?
11 years next month.
11 years.
But married maybe 4 years.
So you've known him since 7 years old, then,
yeah.
Right?
He's been through it all.
He didn't want to be on air today. He did not want to be up here on the mic, but I do want to give a shout out to him because stepdads have it rough.
Oh yeah.
As do stepmoms, but more so with stepdads. There's a lot of a lot of people that fly the coop, and it's usually the dad, right, that does that. And then the stepfather comes in, and in your circumstance, mom's carrying a lot of upset and rage over the schools, and that's got to be hard to deal with. But it sounds like you guys have a really strong bond, and I think that's awesome, and my hat's off to you, brother, because I am a stepdad, I've been a stepdad, and for me, it's as important as my own kids. This is my child, and it's not a matter of ownership, it's a matter of honor, because I know that what I'm able to teach them will last them a lifetime. On my arm, I talk about this all the time, I have a tattoo that says legacy over ruins. Now this tattoo, as all of them have a meaning for me, is that when we leave this life, there's nothing we're taking with us. But we can leave a couple things. We can either leave ruins and wreck things, or we can leave a legacy. And stepdads that put the work in and realize that what they teach them is in your heart, like a father giving advice. And that's huge because, man, I see a lot of stepfathers that just don't understand that their impact is just as strong as their original father, right? And I think that's great that you all have a good relationship. So, hey, thanks for coming, man. Thanks for bringing them here. And God bless you for 11 years of going through it. And now, as you said, you went through some stuff when you were young. That got you fired up. Now, what are you thinking about doing after Jeffrey graduates? What are you going to do? You got nobody to harass.
No clue.
So,
I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Okay, well, I've got some ideas if you wanted to talk about it. But,
sure.
Listen, I don't bring people on the show that I don't believe in. I think that when somebody can live an example like your family has, that it's an opportunity to teach others. We spoke about the TikTok and the YouTube and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys would ever consider it, but man, maybe sharing your story, and mom helping other mothers may be something, because there's a lot of boards you could be on. There's a lot of things that you could do to further this, because this isn't done yet. Especially now that I know DAS is not in every school and being run properly, you and I will have a lot of talks about making that happen. Now, what county are you living in? Otsego, okay. We have a pretty good school district in Otsego, but I don't know if we have DASA, and that's the thing. Most parents don't.
I definitely think that they're doing the bare minimum of the DASA. They might not be doing it completely, so I think that a lot of them are putting that form on there, but who wants to actually go to a superintendent to fill out a complaint form or have that investigation done by them? It should definitely be somebody that the students and the student body feel comfortable going to.
And so, often when there's an advocate like yourself, you not only understand the problem, but you also have an idea of a solution.
Right.
What do you think could fix this, make it better? How could we do that? Because bringing in a solution is
I've recommended a few things to the district. Like one of the struggles was at lunchtime, just being harassed, even just trying to have a meal, and either being excluded or just harassed. So I thought that there's definitely got to be other students that are struggling with this in the school. You know, why not? There was this particular app that I recommended to them where if the students felt like they wanted somebody to eat lunch with, there was this app, and they would kind of
Oh.
do you know what I'm talking? It was on the news not long, a couple years ago.
Yeah, what did...
I don't remember I could find it, but I recommended that app because I thought it would be, you know, that got shut down. So then I recommended Sweethearts and Heroes to come in and do some training in the school.
We looked that up, and that's the first one that came up for somebody that supplied the DASA.
Stories they have, and I feel like they have a true understanding on how to fix this.
Okay, all right. So it sounds like we're going to be networking with DASA. I hope you'll work with me.
Absolutely.
And we could take this on. You know, with the Catskill Center for Independence, we work with people with disabilities regardless of age, income. Everything we do is free, and from birth to death, we help folks because unfortunately, our government has let us down. And you know what? I don't really want to say government because that's the thing. For me, I believe that there are two things. There's the government that we elect, and then there's the reality once they're elected that they get in there and those doors close. And like maybe a presidential election, hey, congratulations on winning it. That's fantastic. And your acceptance speech was amazing. But I'm just going to give you 3 initials, and I want you to think about it, okay? JFK. What are you going to do? Right? Some of the most powerful people up there. But we, the people, do have power. And stories like this will move people to make things happen once they're aware, right? And so now we're aware, and we're aware because of you, Jeffrey. Because had we not had you come into the center, and had Megan not told me your story and how awesome you were, dude, she told me how awesome you were for months. Like, oh my God, I get to go see Jeffrey today. He's so blah, blah, blah. And it's, again, she's the executive director. I just want to say, most executive directors don't do that. They don't take on the cases. They point to others to do it. But Megan loves you and is absolutely stoked for whatever you do after this. Now, you said that you had an IEP in place, but that's not what you graduated in. What'd you graduate with?
So I graduated from my school with a Regents diploma. So yeah, that was...
Dude, I love you, man. I really do. I just love it. And I think, so when you went, Mom, to the, you know, IEP and, you know, you went through that whole process, you expected he would graduate with the IEP?
Well, students can have, so IEP is just individual educational plan. So that doesn't really determine on what kind of diploma you get. You can either graduate with like a CDOS diploma, a Regents diploma, or a local diploma.
What's the CDOS?
CDOS is more, I would say, where you don't have to take like necessarily the Regents. They might have things like maybe at a BOCES program that would qualify, but I don't believe with a CDOS diploma, like your plan, I don't know if it necessarily would be secondary college or things like that. I think you would have to take like your GED even after the CDOS, and you say you graduate with like a CDOS, you would still have to take that either placement or GED in order to go to college.
Right.
And I didn't really think that it was Jeffrey's path, and we fought for him to be included in gen ed classes, and that was part of our fight, is that they said no.
So you're telling me that as a mother, you had decided that, yes, I'm willing to put my son up against the current curriculum, and I believe he'll do well.
Correct.
But the school district, who you had talked with the superintendent, talked about the DASA and all this kind of stuff, still encouraged that he would graduate with an IEP.
Well, he's always going to have like some type of educational plan. So his track was, let's try for a local diploma. And that's what we were going towards. And with COVID, he actually was able to get a few of those Regents exams exempted. So that put him in place for a Regents diploma.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
man. I mean, that's really a great story. Because the thing is the whole reason I do this show is because there are so many people, including myself, that suffer with depression and anxiety and go through all the gamut of life, right? I think it's worse nowadays because I didn't have these issues before internet. I'm just going to say that the constant bombardment of negative news and just constant bickering and fighting and arguing, the availability of somebody to call me and just spout out whatever emotion they have in the moment instantly without any thought is like a constant bombardment of negative emotion. So I started unplugging. I don't have TV. I don't watch news. I watch Netflix or YouTube on things that I want to study or I want to learn more about. I have no more time for distractions. It's disgusting. And it keeps people just, keeps them down. Hearing stories like yours encourages people, man, to know that they can do things differently and that they just own your passion and it will follow you through the rest. Because everything after this, you're going to college next?
Yeah.
Okay. So I gotta tell you, man, I always talk to people about how every opportunity, every person you meet is an opportunity to connect to opportunity. It is. It's an opportunity to connect to opportunity because everybody knows minimum of 10 people. And when they know in a few moments about you and what your passion is, they take that with them. And then the next time they hear of, yeah, we're going to redesign this, or we're going to do this, or we're thinking about rebranding or any of that, they're going to go, I know a guy. And his story is so awesome, you're going to want to know this guy. That's how this works. So how you feeling? You ready for college?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big step. Like, I didn't even think I would be this far in, so it's really exciting. But yeah, like, I think I'm ready for college, and I'm ready to learn more about art or illustration or all the things I need to learn and have to go into the art field. So, yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic, man. And friends, do you have friends that are going to the colleges that you're thinking about going, or?
So yeah, I have one classmate I had from BOCES last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good friend of mine. His name is Finn, and he's going to the same college I'm going into.
Good. So you got a buddy to go with. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you made another friend in me, man. So anytime you need something, you've got my cell, you've got my email, you give me a call. And if I can ever bring you back on the channel, I would love to have you back.
Okay.
And you share that experience of what the college is going and how that's going. And maybe if you consider maybe speaking, I would love to have you do that. I think once we set out how that goes, I think you would be fantastic at it. I really do. And you got such a great personality and delivery, but you're really intelligent. That's the thing that's such a bummer, is that when somebody has a perceived disability, people automatically do whatever math they can in their brain to figure out what level you are. And that's the sad thing about these classifications that we have with diagnoses of, dude, it should just be, I learn different. I bleed the same, I use the same language, I understand math, I just learn different. And that's the sadness about our schools today. So maybe we can do something about that. Again, we talked about DASA, Dignity for All Students Act. If you don't know about it, if you have children in school that need some help or some guidance, I would strongly suggest you research that. Where's that? NewYorkStateEd.gov?
Correct, and you're actually, each school is supposed to be posting it in the conduct on the website, explaining what kind of bullying there are, all the different types of bullying, and how to access the form and who your coordinator is. All that's requirements to be on the school website and throughout the school.
Yeah, we're all going to be on the lookout to see if that is posted now, because once I know something is supposed to, I gotta look.
Yeah, just talk to your kids. If they don't know who the DASA coordinator is, if they don't know how to access the form or how to submit the form, then there's a problem.
There is a problem. Now, can they submit a form online without going through the superintendent?
So the forms are anonymous.
Okay.
So that's one thing. It's a Google form and it's anonymous, and then an investigation has to be done. And if you're just curious also to see if your district how they're doing in that area, how many forms were submitted in the past school year, you can actually go on the New York State education website, and there is a data collection area that shows you each district's
And so,
information.
and so a parent could research this, find their district, and file a complaint if they needed to do that.
Correct. And you
Excellent.
can also see how many DASA complaints were submitted in the past year, and there are several districts that are at 0, and that
Yeah.
to me signifies that that's not truthful. That bullying is definitely going on in that school, it's just not being reported.
My daughter as well had went through some of the bullying and some of the stuff in her own school district. I did not have the tool. I did not know about DASA. Did you know about DASA?
Never heard.
Well, we gotta change that.
We're going to change that. Yes,
I know.
we are. Well, thank you so much, Lynette and Jeffrey. Again, dude, that piece of art, is it mine? Can I hang that? Can
Yeah.
I make that? All right, cool. Because I'm gonna print that off because it's really an excellent piece. And how long did that take you? I just got to know that before.
The outline of it probably like, I don't know, took a day,
Mhm.
because that's like more of a bigger thing with the whole scene going on. The coloring takes a little bit of time when I'm doing the art, so that probably took another day. So probably like roughly 2 days, I would say.
But you did it with your finger.
Yeah.
Come on. I still can't believe that. But listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining me on the Empower Hour. Thank you guys for joining us on Facebook. We look forward to the next show. Next week, we will have Megan Staring, Executive Director of the Catskill Center. She's going to join us and talk about some of the new programs that are out there. And that's it. I'm out of here. This is Imagine. Enjoy.